Aloha, everybody. Welcome to another live stream. This is our second official live stream. So
Mm.
appreciate Mr. Atearoa for your time. How are you doing today and what you been up to?
Good tour. Just a typical Saturday here in New Zealand. Cold. Nothing much. Just did some usual Saturday cleaning and stuff. And yeah, it's pretty chill day though. But it's cold here in New Zealand. But all is good.
Awesome. We're kicking off the weekend here. Obviously, it's Friday. You're a day ahead of us. We're
Hmm.
excited for the weekend. But we're really excited. We have some cool stories here to kind of walk through today. We have a handful of stories. We're going to send anyone. We're not going to accuse anyone. Let's wait 24 hours. Let's see how this plays out. So
Yeah.
we're going to move on. Appreciate all the comments here from social media. I just responded here to David, thanking him for his comments. I would like to, let everyone know if you would like to ask a question on the top. We're going to move on to the next one. And this
Yeah.
is another topic that Masi brought up. We're going to kind of have a discussion on it. He and I are kind of possibly on opposite sides of the fence.
Mm.
We haven't really discussed it. But it is apparently there was a debate. Kind of give the background on it, Masi,
Yeah.
as I pull up the screen here.
Yeah. So there's been many times that the King of Tupo the 6th has encouraged government to you know tackled the whole drug issue in Tonga. It's getting it's not getting better every year, and he's every time the king has an opportunity to speak in Parliament in Tonga, he's always talking about the the drug offense. The drug issues that's happening in Tonga, the effects that's having, the negative effects that's having in Tonga. Tonga recently has a highest record of arrests of drug offenders and drug dealers. I think their largest. I don't know how much is it to it, but they
I'll look
caught.
it up. I'll look it up
Yeah,
while
they
you're.
caught a brother and a sister. The brother apparently works in the I think the Reserve Bank in Tonga. That it's their largest find of drugs in Tonga. It was a big bust. So the Tonga currently has the death penalty by hanging. That's been its law. I think its last execution of a person. Tua, you can maybe try to correct me. I think its last execution was in the 80s, or is it earlier than that?
I'm not 100% sure on when the last execution was.
Yes, but it's by hanging, and Tonga still has that in its constitution, so it's legal. And there's a debate that's happening in Tonga right now that if this death sentence should be offered to drug offenses. Um, so yeah, that's been going on right now, and I just thought we'll bring it up to kind of discuss Tua for the pros and cons
Yeah.
on it. So yeah, to me, Tua, what's your initial
real
thoughts? And
quick
you can
real
kind of
quick Mussy, I do want to talk on that
yes,
story that you spoke about. So it was 15 kilos
yeah,
of meth,
yes.
and so really if I
Found in the
understand.
office and at the home
Yep,
at the
found
Reserve
in
Bank.
his
Yeah,
office at the Reserve Bank and in his home, and then I guess also with the sister
correct. Yeah.
somewhere. And like we're talking about, I think can't remember what Danny was saying, but I think 5 kilos, it's automatic life sentence. So this gentleman, and it's really sad. I'm actually, I got a lot of messages on social media. This is actually a good friend of mine.
Mm.
We went to high school together in Tonga. Nice gentleman. I mean, when we grew up,
Did he
very.
play? Did he play like high football too? For like, didn't he play football? This
I
person?
don't know if he played football. That doesn't ring a bell for me.
Okay, okay,
But we grew up in Tonga. We went to side school together. We went to Tonga High School together. I don't really remember his sister as much, but
yeah.
Nonu, like when somebody first reached out to me and they said, "Oh, Tevita Koloki Haka Ofisi," I was like, I don't know Tevita. The only person I
Mm,
know is Nonu because I
mm.
always called him
By his
by
middle
his
name.
middle name. But really nice gentleman. I'm really sad because it's always sad. He has young kids, so that's
Mm,
really going to impact the kids. But like you're saying, The real discussion that we're gonna have is the death penalty something that should be applied for this?
Yes. What's your
And
thoughts? What's your thoughts?
there's a couple things that have come to my mind. The first thing that comes to my mind is, what's the purpose of a death penalty? I don't I understand the deterrence factor of it, but more from a religious perspective, the purpose of the death penalty is to try and restore it's not for the victims. That's the big part. The big part, in a sense, of the death penalty is for actually the accused or the guilty person, because the driver behind it is, and it's I'm much more closer for the death penalty for taking a life, because in theory the death penalty is to offer the guilty an opportunity to recompense to the best of his or her ability. So that's the first thing, is for me, from a religious and historical perspective, that's the way I've always understood the driver behind it, that there is the part of, bringing closure for the family, but it's also from a religious perspective. When you kill someone, the biggest thing you can show of your repentance is to offer your life in return, right?
Mm,
And that's the part of it behind it. The second part is, I'm very hesitant sometimes for non-murder offenses, just because our justice system is not perfect,
okay.
and there's always a risk of someone being in jail innocent, and if you kill them, then that's it, right? If they're in jail, they have a chance to contest it and find justice in the end. I'm just a little hesitant to say, kill someone for drugs. I'm more of life sentence with no parole. But killing for drug offenses, I'm hesitant to say,
Okay.
yes, I'm for that.
Okay.
What are
So
what are your
I'm
thoughts?
I'm more pro for it, and here's the reason why I'm for it. With a little tweak. One, if like you said, I think Tonga has a lifetime when you serve in prison when you're what 5 kilos or above, right?
Yes.
I feel like if you're catching somebody twice or three times, let's just say three is the limit, and they've been caught three times, I think that suggests that this person is not able to rehabilitate. And
Mhm.
one, because Tonga's population is 107
Yeah, it
population, so
hasn't
the impact,
changed from the 100, yeah.
yes. So you're talking about a really small population that its impact is pretty great. I think in the US, it's you can live in a certain parts of the world and you can still recover. I mean, like it's not going to be a you won't feel it too much because you're just living amongst a bigger population.
Yeah,
But I feel like
300 million, yeah.
300 million. So the impact is going to be greater in Tonga. The other reason is it's the offenses. I think I watched some of the debates with the police officers. They said the amount of arrests and drug dealers they've been catching is showing no signs of stopping. So
Wow.
if Tonga is gonna Tonga, we don't have much money, and it's very expensive to even keep somebody in prison. Even in the U.S., they're already thinking of like how we're gonna keep up with the cost if we're gonna keep people for life sentence. Because
Yeah.
the older
That
they
is a
get,
financial commitment,
yeah.
yes.
So there's that impact on it, and and then there's that, and there's also impacts of your when when the victims, let's just say, if because most people are going to be motivated to get drugs and they're willing to do whatever crime, so victims, I feel like they will feel they will feel justified if the death penalty is given, like what I said, if they're caught like multiple times, to a let's just say three times with 5 kilos or more selling, that really helps to stop, almost kind of really stop the they're like the head of the snake or whatever their crew there are. And I feel like that will really deter other potential drug sellers to happen in Tonga. So that's kind of my reason. I know there's that religious reason too. If when you take one life, but you you're usually once you're in that business and you're doing and you're let's just say you're unable to rehabilitate yourself for better, you're already taking multiple lives in that sense.
Yeah,
um,
you're destroying
so
multiple lives. Yeah.
you're destroying multiple lives. And um, I think DeSantis actually passed a law in Florida. This is one of the few only states that you're allowed to kill somebody when somebody has done uh, a child abuse offense. Florida. I don't know if you heard that, Tua, that
I'm
they've
gonna
kind of
look it
passed
up
that
while
law.
you're talking. Yeah.
And to me, drug is such a huge issue in Tonga. It's only huge because, like I said, we're very small population, so the impact is really great. So yes, penalty to include. So to me, this can be another reason. I'm also like for that too, for the death penalty for these kind of offenses. But now, for the like I said, for the drug offenses, the drug users, I feel like we can try to rehabilitate them, but it's more of the sellers because they're the ones
Yeah.
really funding the whole or facilitating this expansion of drug use in Tonga. So to me, if you're caught 5 kilos or more, let's just say twice, 3 times, that's a suggestion that you're
Well, and
not
the thing
you're
is,
not
right
choosing to
now,
rehabilitate. But
yeah, and right now, I mean, 5 kilos or more is a life sentence. So in theory, you can't be caught more than once,
yeah,
right? In
well,
theory,
yeah,
because once you get caught with five
yeah.
kilos or more, your life sentence.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. They would have to change it because, like I said, if you're going to be life sentence and the police already saying
It's not
that
working.
it's trending up the amount of arrests and stuff, and we're gonna have a bunch of life sentence people. It's gonna cost Tonga. Like I said, Tonga can use that money in a lot of different areas. I don't know if the Kingdom of Tonga wants to keep life sentence prisoners alive because it's
Yeah.
gonna cost a lot of money because it's not cheap even now in the U.S. because it is creating some
Mm.
discussion on that. And like I said, I mean, to me, yes, Tonga is a religious country, and yes, we want to give people the benefit of the doubt. But like I said, God has also operated in a way that He's wiped out entire nations and people when the justice is not preserved,
Well,
or that's what I'm thinking.
well, and
So
it's especially really when the Lord wipes it out is once He determines that the children don't have a chance, right? And if we're saying that, because I have heard and watched some videos that these drug sellers are targeting young kids. We're talking like 10
correct,
year olds because
correct,
they want, I mean, you get a 10-year-old on drugs, you pretty much you got a customer for at least another 15 to 20 years,
yeah, yeah,
So yeah, I mean, it's yeah, those are good points. And then, like you said, I think the one that I'm most open to in your position is the fact that it is Tonga. It's a different situation,
much smaller
financially,
population. Yeah,
yeah,
much.
higher impact. So yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, they had a vote 38-8. What was this? Just like this didn't have any binding, whatever. It's
No,
just a
no,
debate, and then people
people who were available came to the parliament and kind of
mm,
shared
their
their
thoughts.
ideas. But like I said, this is, and I did hear somebody say that this issue is, it's, yes, we're just providing ideas and what we think is going to help to be put in the Tongan law to help this situation. But to really solve this situation, it's going to take your family, your relatives, the church, the school, and your village, your
Well,
community. In order to really solve this drug issue, everyone's got to play a part to kind of root root
did
out root out this.
Did
But
you watch Tucker Carlson's interview with the president of um, El Salvador?
no, I did see it come up in my feeds and stuff, but I haven't watched it.
So I'm going to see if I can find the video, but I do want to send out an invite here. Any of the viewers, If you have a question or a comment, please put it in here. We're currently live on Facebook, YouTube, and also on X. Give you a second if you have any thoughts to put it in the chat that we can discuss and see what the thoughts are there. But
Mhm.
I'm gonna play a video here.
And
Um,
and this is just my understanding with El Salvador. Don't they have like a huge gang issue? And he
yeah,
like
it was
went
the
full on military and like
yes.
literally like it's like a war within it with the gangs.
Well, and that's why I want, because the previous prime minister of Tonga, I know that some people kind of mocked him a little bit, if I can remember correctly, because he asked the nation to fast and pray. And that's the reason why I want to get this video here real quick.
Or
Um
they what's wrong? What they don't believe in fast and pray or
well,
what?
no, that's the thing. That's what I'm saying. Like it seems there may be a shift in, maybe, this is kind of like everything can be a blessing and everything can be a curse, right?
Yeah,
Obviously, as Tongans, and also just as members of the church in general, we are very pro education, right?
yeah.
Very pro education. But that is the positive. You get educated, you have, an understanding of the world, how processes and government works. But sometimes there's the negative of it, is you put too much faith in the processes and in the systems that you learn, that you kind of, you know try to account for everything, that you exclude God as one of the potential solutions. You
Mm,
you put so much effort into the equation that you actually mathematically remove God from the
mm,
equation, because you're trying to account for everything. And so there were some people that were like, what, we're not a we're not, we're in the 21st century, why are we, fasting to
yeah,
solve, that's
yeah.
not going to solve the drug problem. However, I do want to show this video, because listen to what the president of El Salvador did, who went from the murder capital of the world
Correct.
to now the safest country in the Americas. Okay,
Nice.
and this is what he said.
Team's one of the major gangs.
And they are satanic. They started doing satanic rituals. I don't know exactly when that started, but it's
Mm,
well documented. In the case of El Salvador, we were literally the murder capital of the world, and we turned it into the
Can you
safest
hear
country in
that
the
clearly,
Western
Masi?
Hemisphere.
yeah, yeah.
Just years. How did you change it?
So we pray.
Mm.
You've transformed the country in a good way, and you're literally the most popular elected leader in the world. Did you ever worry they would try and put you in jail?
Well, they did.
What advice would you give to another former
Well,
democratically
this
elected
is kind of
leaders?
more of a coverage overall, but did you hear
Yeah.
what he said?
Yes, we
We
prayed.
prayed.
And the answer was full on military and wipe these guys out because they're worshippers of satanic rituals of Satan,
Yeah.
pretty much.
Well, and that's the
That's what he
thing,
said.
is this is evil and you need God to get involved, because this is evil. We have to recognize that, Lucifer's got more tricks up his sleeve than what we can come up with. And this is a serious problem. And, we got to go back to both the first mentality. A temporal solution is not going to solve this for us. We need to go back and rely on God
Mm,
to help us, to inspire us, because what was happening and what he was saying, because you're saying, they provided like the military solution. So what he was saying was, they would go out and try to, remove all these gangs, these MS-13, these
correct.
satanic worshiping gangs that had kind of turned to satanic worship, but they were intermingled with the people. This is like the secret combinations in the Book of Mormon, right? So they
Mm,
said we couldn't really weed them out, and the problem was, there's, let's say, what, 6 million people or whatever it is in El Salvador, and they would just kill indiscriminately, right? Like they would just lash out when they would try to chase them down. And he said the problem was, even their own grandmas, they wouldn't even care about their own grandma. They would kill their own grandma just to have a negative impact, to scare the nation. And
mm,
so he said, man, this is almost an impossible task. So what did they do? They prayed. And that's what they did. And they prayed, and they all would pray, and then they would ponder, and then turn the whole ship around. Now they're one of the safest countries in the world. So I think that's something that our people, I would have assumed that we would have been the most open to. I was kind of surprised to hear certain people kind of mocking the former
Mm.
prime minister, saying, "What, your solution for the drug thing is a national fasting and praying?" Well, guess what? For the murder capital of the world, that's what they did, and it worked. So
Yeah.
let's not get too far away from our roots. And remember, we gotta reach out to God and help Him inspire. And everybody needs to pray for God to inspire the leaders in Tonga to come up with a solution.
No, and I'll go along those lines too, especially the leaderships, people who are in those positions to make things happen regarding creating laws or input laws to death penalty or maybe another way. Yeah, if to me, yeah, pray to God. Be inspired. If it's with a sword to wipe them out, or is it with a book or some other way to rehabilitate or you know have intervention within those people that they won't do it again and do good. But whatever the way is, as long as you feel inspired by God to do, then go ahead and do. But yeah,
Not 100%. Anything else on this, Masi? I mean, hey, it's kind of funny. We talked about my classmate Nonu, unfortunately being involved in that. There's another classmate of mine. Apparently, he's the speaker of the house.
yeah, yeah.
Kinkinilau. I guess he's now Lord Whakafanua. But he
Okay.
and I went to school together. Funny. It's funny to see him there. He was kind of a interesting dude when we were growing up. I think we were up to class 6 at Tonga Side School, and then I think he went to New Zealand or Australia for his education.
I think it's New
Um,
Zealand, because he
yeah,
still has his. I think his parents or something
families
are
are over
there.
there.
Yeah,
So yeah, it's kind of funny. Actually, I think his dad was it his dad that was the minister of education for a while, because when I was in Tonga, like my last year, when we were the Australian rugby league team came, we
mm,
played, and
mm,
it was like all the Tonga high school was like super proud because I had that contract with the Panthers come while
yeah,
still in high school, and his dad specifically came to Tonga High School to meet with me, and he asked to meet with me, just to sit down and talk about the experience. And what was funny is this principal at Tonga High School hated me, and that's a long story behind it.
yeah,
But I just thought it was so hilarious that she went from hating me like 3 or 4 months ago, and then now that there was all this positive news around me, she was like, "Oh, Tua is one of our greatest students," and blah blah blah. I was like, "Dude, you tried to get me kicked out of school like 3 months ago, and now all of a sudden, because I'm the first high school kid to get a contract while still in high school, all of a
yeah.
sudden." This kind of goes back to what we talked about at BYU,
BYU.
not doing what's right, and it's all about image and protecting the image, and you sway with the wind blows.
Yeah,
And literally 3 months ago she was trying to kick me out of school, and then now that there's all this positive energy coming out, and the minister of education wants to meet, and they sit down, they have the little sandwiches that has all the in Tonga, if it has no crust on it, that was like
yeah.
fancy in Tonga.
That is fancy. Yeah,
But yeah, it's just kind of funny seeing here Lord Whakafanua there. But wanted to kind of have some conversations. I think if there's nothing else, Mussy, we can start
yeah.
diving
No,
into the
yeah,
sports
yeah.
sports
No, that's it.
section.
That's it. Just want to talk about some of the stuff that's kind of happening currently in Tonga with the debate on this, and thought we'll just add some of our ideas.
Being said, once again, everybody, it's been a pleasure. Appreciate the feedback, appreciate the involvement. Everybody, have a great evening, and until next time,
See
we'll
ya.
see you. Bye.